Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's the start of Season 5 and we make our bow in League 1 today with a home game against Rotherham. However, we've got a usual problem. We seem to have it at the start of every season on this save. Our director of football is doing too little too late after a really quiet summer, which has left us with a tiny squad. We mentioned it in the last 2 years with Slough. We had it at Dungannon in Season 2 as well. And we also struggled in the first season where we weren't given good players at Hemel Hempstead. I can even see from the board confidence there, one of the signings that was made in the summer, the fans are unhappy with it already, so he's turning the fans against me too. I don't know, maybe he wants the job himself. Let's go and look at what has been done. You can see he's working desperately hard now, although as you'll see in a minute, there's one key omission from what he's trying to do. So he's trying to bring in 2 defenders, 2 midfielders and 2 strikers. If we get all of them, then great. I'm not sure where they'll all play. We've already got the 4 central midfielders we need. We've already got a striker at the club, so we don't need 2, especially when we only play with 1 striker. The defenders we very much do need, but we really need a left back rather than the 2 he's bringing in. So we'll continue to let him do that, and I can see he's going for some very big wages with the defenders, so hopefully they'll at least be good players. I'm not going to look at them just yet, as there seem to be a lot of clubs in for them, because I keep seeing messages about them, so hopefully we'll get some over the line, and then we'll talk about them when they come in the next episode. In terms of the ones that are done though, we've lost some big names over the summer, although we've just lost the players there, and there's a couple that were released as well I think. In the released players, most of the names you don't recognise. There were ones who were either sitting outside the matchday squad or who had been out on loan beforehand last year, so we won't have seen much from any of them. I'm just trying to see if there's any reputable names there, but I don't think there are. None of them players will have made more than 1 appearance for us at most. If we go into the transfers that have left the club, moving on to this summer, Harry Hawkins played a few games for us. Draper was our backup striker last year. Again, he hasn't replaced him. Greaves and Wade Slater were regulars on the bench. Arthur was a good youngster. He's gone to Barrow. Let's see what he's doing there. Hopefully he'll get first team football because he really deserves it. And then a few of the youngsters a bit further down who I don't really recognise. Other than Wayne Drury, who we did mention last year, he's gone out on loan too. You can see the list that's far shorter is the list of ins. If you consider it as well as those outs, we've also lost most of our loans who went back. So Shamal George, he left the club, our star goalkeeper at the end of last season. Mitch Burford, the left back. Oliver Denham and Sam Graham, the centre halves. They were just a few among many. We lost Whittaker as well. The only one that actually stayed was Leon Smart, who was in a position that we were actually quite well covered. So you can see he's there at the top of these 6. He's a good midfielder, 4-star ability, will definitely start, and he's a really good player to have at the club. A natural box to box, and hopefully he can provide us with some attacking impetus. The next one was David Gregory. He's a rubbish goalkeeper with 1.5-star ability. He's 27 years old. I didn't realise that. No wonder the fans were complaining about him. He's in the under-18s. He won't get a game. I'd put him in the under-18s. I didn't realise he was 27. What a terrible signing that is. The next one is Kieran Hayes from Morecambe. A 2-star 23-year-old with 3-star ability. He's okay, but he's probably conference standard at best. Maybe low League 2. Certainly not good enough for this level. And again, he's already loan listed. So he's not someone who will be in and around the first team squad once we've got enough players to fill the bench. The next one is a loan signing from our parent club Liverpool, a proper goalkeeper this time. We lost out on George, but this guy's not far off. 3.5-star ability, 4.5 potential, and hopefully over the year he'll become as good as George was last season. Again, natural in the sweeper keeper role, and a really decent goalkeeper for just over £1,000 a week. A former Irish under-21 international with plenty of talent and ability. Moving on, we've got our only paid signing of the window so far, Jamie McCart from Inverness Caledonian Thistle, the one player deemed worthy of a fee by our director of football, and to be fair to him, he's a very solid centre-half. 3-star ability, 4-star potential, a left-footed 25-year-old, and he'll do alongside Wilkinson for now. Not the most determined, which is an issue, but he's certainly better than what we've got, because we haven't got anything else apart from the youth team and Wilkinson. And last but not least is Stephen Tamelty, a player who does not fit into our tactical shape at all. I have no idea why he signed him, other than the fact he's got potential. He's a right winger who can't play in the attacking midfield role. He's also left-footed, so can't play as a winger, and then he can't play on the left-hand side as a winger with his left foot. He can cover up front, but he's not a good finisher or header of the ball, and I just don't really know what he is. So he may have plenty of potential, but he's going to need a lot of training to fit into our shape, and probably won't be able to help us much this year. I have no doubt he's a good talent, but certainly not for a club that plays the way we are. So you can probably start to see where we're going to be a bit short. We've lost all of our lone defenders from last year, as well as a few that were released, and we've replaced absolutely none of them. The fact that the likes of Hawkins and Bailey, who weren't very good, but were very cheap backups at the back, mean we don't have any sub-defenders, and in fact we've only got 3 pro defenders on the books at the club. So if we go for our squad for the first day of the season, we're playing against Rotherham, who are heavy favourites, and let's show you the 11 and the 18 we've got out for it. You can see our whole squad's there, and it includes 2 youth players, as well as Kieran Hayes, who we mentioned we didn't want here. So we're sticking with the same shape for now. I think we're going to end up having to go to a cautious mentality, especially away from home, as we don't really have the squad to compete. I've gone for the 11 strongest players I can pick. We've had to continue with Georgiou at left back because we haven't got a left full back at the club, even though he's a horrific defender and will probably get roasted at this level. McCart and Wilkinson are at centre half with Wilding at right back. Kelleher's obviously behind them as the only goalkeeper who's not David Gregory. Smart and Ferry are in midfield with Kennedy, Archibald and Flores behind Walland, who continues his loan up front. The other one that he managed to keep, although I think that was agreed before his loan was due to finish. On the bench, we've got McKee, Ward and Berry, all central midfielders, and Tamelty, the useless winger, who doesn't fit into our shape. And then we've got Kieran Hayes, who's not good enough, and a defender and striker from the youth team. So I can't quite see how we're expected to do well this year. If we take you to the board expectations, in terms of competition performance, they're expecting in League One that we avoid relegation, not fight bravely. They expect us to stay up with 14 professional players. In the English FA Cup, they expect us to reach the second round, which is okay. And the first round of the Carabao Cup means we're under no pressure. If I take you to the schedule for that one, you can see we got Swindon at home in the first round, so hopefully we'll be able to get a result there. But I'm not holding up much hope for this league season unless we can get a significant number of players in, including a left winger. The last thing to mention is obviously that it's the World Cup year. We've got a Winter World Cup, and as a result we're starting early. It doesn't really affect the League One campaign too much, as you would expect that not many players would be on international duty. Looking at our squad, I don't think there are any that will be. Wilding was the only one who's playing regularly for his nation, but they're not going to be in the World Cup. The only other possibility is Georgiou, who's playing for Cyprus. Let's just check they haven't qualified. It doesn't look like it. It's not mentioning they've got a World Cup campaign. So hopefully no news is good news on that front. If a couple of others lose 1 or 2 star players, it could put us in a better position for the season. But enough about the disappointing transfers. We've just got to get on with it. That's the beauty of this series. We have to cope seemingly every year with the first month of the season until all of our players are bought in. I'm not sure if the transfer deadline day is affected by the fact that there's a Winter World Cup. It's not, so it's still got a couple of weeks to go, and then I presume we'll still be able to loan players till the end of the month. Although we've only really got room for 1 or 2 more loan players in the 18 before we get to that 5 maximum in the squad. So let's get into this first game and just see if we can get a point. I'd be absolutely delighted with any form of result. We'll automatically give those 2 squad numbers, and let's get into our first game of the League One season. Almost exactly the same formation from Rotherham, with the exception of their first 2 midfielders being slightly deeper. They're in defensive midfield roles, whereas ours are just standard central midfielders. On the right hand side, they've got Verlinden. He used to be at Stoke. He's a really good player. On 5,000 a week and a backup. That shows you the difference in quality and finances at this level. In fact, we should probably just go and have a look to see in the league this year where we rank in the wage bill. I don't know if you can do it before the season. If not, we'll certainly do it after the first game. It has kicked off now, so we can go and have a look. Nottingham Forest, who lost last night, they've got the biggest wage bill in the league, and we are rock bottom, over 250 grand behind Accrington. So that tells you how badly we're going to do this year, and our board are expecting us to stay up and not even have to fight for it. So certainly unrealistic on their part. A net transfer spend, where are we there? In the bottom half in the minus money. And the only reason it's not any worse is because we haven't had any offers for big money. Let's get back to the game and go and do the team talk. I'm really frustrated by this window. I thought we were going to move forward. I really expected after January that Danny Collins would really surge on during this window and get us 4 or 5 really good players. He hasn't done any of that, and in fact there's still 3 staff roles that are vacant, 2 in the coaching team and 1 in the scouts that he hasn't even replaced yet. So we haven't got any goalkeeper coaches at the club, and in fact we're the worst in the league for that, and we're below average across the board in coaching, which means we can't even develop the ones we've got here well. It's a throw on the right for Wilding. He takes it into Flores, who's very deep there. We don't want him too far back. Wilding surging forward down the right though. Inside to Leon Smart. He comes over halfway. Beats 2 men. Still going at the defence. I don't know about you, but this looks a bit of a kick clash to me. I know that the opposite's the red and white, but it still doesn't show well here. Smith wins the flick on for them, but Georgiou's back covering and has plenty of time in the left back area. I'll try and make the 2 teams out, but don't be surprised if I get it wrong at some point. Leon Smart's coming forward again. He looks like an absolute monster in midfield. He's really developed over the half a season he's been here. And now Flores from the edge of the box goes for the shot, but it's just wide of the post. And we have looked pretty good early on, but if any of this 11 get injured, we might be in big trouble behind it. Rotherham with an attacking throw on the left though. Their first chance to get a shot on target. Clayton gets it out to Virtue. Another man who used to play for Liverpool goes for the shot which cracks off the post and goes behind for a goal kick. Now it's Marshall for Rotherham on the left. They're coming forward again. They're starting to get a foothold in this game. Tilly back to Evans. Evans to the left hand side to Marshall. A good interchange of passing from them and we just can't get near them. Robertson with a long ball. Verlinden the man we'd highlighted and Kelleher the new keeper makes a great save before Georgiou clears. But that's the problem with not having a proper left back. Georgiou got caught out over the top by the long ball, doesn't know how to position himself, and we were lucky to survive, and it's still goalless. Flores has the ball 25 yards out on the right, finds Smart, charging forward to the edge of the box, unopposed, goes for the shot, but it's comfortably over the bar, and that's not going to be threatening anyone's goal. It's a free kick on the edge for Kennedy. Can we nick a lead? Oh, he's hit the crossbar. It beat the keeper, all ends up. But it deflects off the crossbar and Verlinden brings it away. And at half-time, it's going to be goalless. But I'd argue we've had the better of that game. We've dominated possession and we've had double the amounts of shots and those on target. I know that's only 2-1, but we've certainly looked threatening. Let's give the team talk. We're going to encourage the lads. Paul Jewell's experience is invaluable here. We've never managed at this level. Paul Jewell's managed way above here. So he's going to tell us what to do and we're just going to follow his advice. Verlinden comes straight from the kickoff to Tilly. Goes for the shot. Kelleher looks like he's going to be just as good as George. A second brilliant save in this game. Not been called upon many times, but on the 2 occasions he had, he's made brilliant saves. A couple of minutes gone in the second half and Kennedy has a free kick. It deflects off the wall and it's been cleared very easily by Rotherham. We've got a free kick with Kennedy again, this time from the right. Eastwood with the save. Wallen gets there on the rebound, but he's offside. The flag goes up, and unfortunately we won't get a second chance. Verlinden with a shot for Rotherham. It was from a free kick. I was surprised he shot from that range, but it was comfortably over. And now Kennedy's got another one at the other end. Puts it into the corner. Ben Kennedy scores a free kick. It's a brilliant goal from Kennedy. And we've got a deserved lead against a good side in Rotherham. And hopefully we can get those 3 points to get rid of those transfer blues on the first day of the season. Danny Collins might not have done his job, but Ben Kennedy is certainly doing his. An hour gone, we lead 1-0. It's a throw on the left. Georgiou takes it back to McCart. Not seen much of him yet, but he's got a rating above a 7, so he must be doing something right. Archibald with a clearance. Deflects away, though. We've gifted them a chance with Harriet. He's put it in the corner, and there's the sort of mistakes you can't make at this level. Last year we may have got away with that, but Archibald with a howler from the left wing, and I can't even take him off, as we have no suitable replacements. It's a corner for Rotherham. Verlinden will take it. Clayton at the back post hits the post, and now they've got the lead. George Evans puts it in and we've just run out of steam. We've not got a good enough side and it's starting to show now. Let's make some substitutions. Wallen's had an awful game, but we have no subs bar the youngster Pip Bannister. We're not going to put him under that much pressure in this one, so Wallen stays on. Flores will be replaced by Berry. We'll bring Tamelty on the left and see if he does anything. I don't know what he can do. Maybe we'll put him on the right as an inside forward and we'll put Kennedy over to the left-hand side. In central midfield, Ferry's replaced by Ward and we go back into this game hoping that we can nick a point out of somewhere. Let's see if we can get back into it. 10 minutes to go, Verlinden with an in-swinging cross. It's another chance for Rotherham. It's finally bundled in. Kelleher made 2 or 3 brilliant saves, but at the 4th time of asking it's in. We're going to lose comfortably on the first day of the season. We dominated for the first hour, but we've just run out of steam. Let's try and go a bit more positive and see if we can get a chance at least. We'd like to get Walland a goal on the first day. Berry's lost out in the middle, just not good enough, but Ward gets it to Tamelty. Ward again, Tamelty on the right, cuts it back to Wilding. Deflection is cleared, and no one was just willing to put a cross in early. Vassell gets it up to Tilly, but Smart intercepts and McCart can clear. That rating in the 7s has gone very quickly for him. Tamelty with the ball over the top, absolutely aimless, and it's brought away by Robertson. You're starting to see where the problems in the squad are here, as Vassell's in again, and it's 4-1, and embarrassment ensuing here. We are getting absolutely outclassed in the last half an hour. You're seeing where the problems are with the squad. The first 11 did a great job for an hour, but when we needed reinforcements, we just didn't have any available. And we haven't got any sort of game changers on the bench in the key areas. No sub-defenders, no sub-strikers, aside from those in the youth team. It's harsh, the result, as we did dominate the first hour, but you saw it coming a mile off. Berry gets the ball into Kennedy, Ward with the ball in the middle. If we could at least get another goal, that would be great. Kennedy gets it back to Georgiou. Georgiou up to Ward. I really don't know how the board expect us to stay up with a 14-man squad. It's terrible from our director of football, and it seems to be a common theme on this year's Football Manager that they just leave it too late to make their changes, and by the time you get them, you're already a month into the season and struggling. I don't remember having this problem in FM18. Let me know if you've watched them recently, those videos. Did we have the same problem there, or am I just imagining things? Let's get the ball up to the right hand side with Wilding. It falls for Marshall and now Tilly. We don't really need to commentate. Rotherham have won the game. The only thing that's going to change is Berry might get a yellow card here. I don't think he's going to. He got away with it. And we've got 4 days. And hopefully in 4 days' time when we play Bradford, we'll have at least 2 or 3 of those 6 players joining the club. The director of football is working hard now. But I just need to know why he waited 2 months to do it. Was it due to their wage demands being too high at first? Or was he just being lazy? It's a 4-1 defeat. It's harsh on the lads. We were 1-0 up with a quarter of the game to go, but we just ran out of steam against a very good side. Don't forget when we started this series just over 4 years ago, Rotherham were a championship side, so they have got good pedigree. Paul Jewell tells us to be disappointed. That's exactly what we'll do. We won't be listening to his half-time team talks again though, as that one was disastrous. No points on the first day of the season. We're third bottom due to our poor goal difference. We'll see what was said about the game. A disappointing collapse. And Tamelty's appearance for us was his first professional game ever. So certainly not the standard of squad we're looking to have. If we go to our schedule, we'll have a look at when we might be back. We've got a few games that are going to be difficult. And in fact, there's not going to be many easy ones this year. I'm looking at games in the middle of September, the likes of Bolton and then Portsmouth towards the end. But obviously we could get a big game in the Carabao Cup second round if we manage to get through Swindon. Although to be fair, at this rate we could well be playing a youth team in that one, as we'd normally rotate the squad a little. But fingers crossed our director of football will be able to get some players in and we'll finally sign a left back at some point, so we've got a full defence for this division. But if you did enjoy this video, please put a thumbs up on it. Let me know down in the comments what you think I should do, especially considering we've only got 14 players. If your suggestion is get a new job, I have been trying, but there aren't many available, and certainly none that were worth going to. Don't forget we have to be realistic here. If the job's not bigger, better or higher paid, we can't go because we wouldn't in real life. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories. This one, The Head Coach, where we've obviously endured another frustrating summer, as well as my One Club series, Part of the Furniture with Torquay United, where we're also newly in League One. So we're learning a lot about this division in both series. There's also weekly content from our FIFA 19 lower league career with Crew Alexandra, as well as our Newcastle series that we did over Christmas. We're doing one more season as a few people requested. They're both out on Friday at 3 and 4:30. But a massive thanks for watching this one as always, and we'll see you next time, where hopefully there'll be news of a lot of signings.